All right, guys, welcome back into Vase Pods. We are here today with another very special guest. We have Quentin Guliford. We're excited to have him. We got the ultimate entrepreneur, creator, also former hooper. We're about to get into all of that. Quentin, I'm really excited to have you, though, my guy.
Appreciate you having me on, man. I'm glad we got to. I saw you came into town. I was like, man, what the heck's this guy doing in Phoenix?
I know.
So I appreciate you hitting me up, man. I'm glad we got to make it happen.
Man, you were one of the first people that I hit up. I was like, man, I gotta hit him up and just see what he was up to. All right, let's get right into it, though. Kind of give us like an introduction of like who you are, kind of where you're from, all that good stuff.
Yeah. So Quentin Guliford. That's the full name. Born and raised out here in Phoenix. I grew up on the west side of Phoenix, North Peoria. Was a Liberty High School grad at 2018. Both my parents grew up here. My mom grew up on the east side. She went to Corona del Sol, which is in Tempe, east side. She was an east side lady. Division I track runner, ran track at NAU, was a triple jumper. My dad grew up on the west side as well. He went to Peoria High School. Shout out P-Town, man. Got a nice little legacy down there. My uncle also went to Peoria, played 5 or 6 years in the NFL. Pops was Division I football and track at NAU as well. So that's where my parents met. They had my older brother when my mom was 19, so they kind of started having kids quick. So they started popping us out. So that's kind of a little bit of the family. I'm the middle of three. I have two brothers, older brother, little brother. We're all 3 years apart. Little brother is about to turn. I'm turning 26 this year. Little brother's about to turn 23. I'm about to turn 26, and my older brother just turned 29. I feel like we're getting old, man. But outside of that, as far as what I do, what I got going on, for the last 4 years, I've been working in the service industry. One of those years was as a barback at Yard House in Westgate, over there by the Cardinal Stadium, and then was blessed to get a little promotion there after paying my dues as a barback. Then I've been bartending for a little over the last 3 years. This has been awesome. I've been able to gain and grow so much from the opportunity. Outside of that, I graduated from undergrad with a biology degree in 2024. In 2022, 2023, I made the decision that I wanted to pursue a career in the oral healthcare field. My end goal is oral surgery. But where I'm at now, I'm starting a master's here in about 2 weeks in biomedical sciences that will, God willing, get me into dental school. So for the last handful of years, man, just been working on the application, the resume, the transcripts, putting everything together, while also creating an entrepreneurial environment in my life where I'm just setting myself up for success, an environment where I can, make money as a student instead of just take out money for my entire student career. So
Most definitely. You kind of just talked about it. You took the test, we'll say today.
Mm-hmm.
This will probably be a week from now, but week late.
Yeah,
okay. You took the test. What were your thoughts on it?
Mm-hmm.
How hard was it? Was it easier than you thought? What were your thoughts?
Yeah, so the test he's referencing is the dental admissions test.
Yes.
So the dental admissions test is a 5-part, 5-hour exam, and the name kind of speaks for itself. Dental admissions test. It's just part of the requirements that you have to get done as a pre-dental student in order to make the dental school. It's just part of your dental school application. The dental school application process is grueling in itself, and so with this test on top of that, it's an animal. It's for sure. The first 90 minutes of the test, you have 40 bio questions, 30 gen chem questions, 30 organic chemistry questions, first 90 minutes. And then you have a section where you have to answer 90 questions in 60 minutes. It's like a perceptual ability part of the test where you're gauging angles, you're figuring out how patterns fold, unfolding patterns, like mentally, just kind of esoteric oral healthcare practitioner stuff. And then you have a little break. And after your 30-minute break, you have an hour reading section. That's an hour. You have to answer 50 questions, 3 sections, three prompts, 3 story prompts. Each of them are in between 12 to 20 paragraphs. The reading comp is tough because the questions aren't necessarily straightforward, so you just have to, your reading comprehension skills have to be there. And then after reading comp, you have 45 minutes of quantitative reasoning, which is your math section. In the math section, it's a lot of data sufficiency questions. So you're given, A and B, and you have to determine so you're given a question, and you're given A and B, then you have to decide if A is greater, if B is greater, if the amounts are the same, or if there's no relation between A and B. So it's kind of working through those data sufficiency questions. They're not very straightforward. There's a lot, there's some more straightforward kind of math, algebra skills in there, but as far as the test goes, it's an animal. It's just something, as we were talking about, if you're smart, you'll spend 2, 3, 4, 5 months for it. But I was really happy with the way I prepared. So in that case, whatever results I get, I won't get my results for another 2 to 3 weeks from now. But I was really happy with how I prepared, and glad to have it over with, that's for sure.
Most definitely. Okay, so let's bring it back a little bit before. I just wanted to make sure we got to that real quick and talked about that. So when you were growing up, I know you said you have brothers.
Mm-hmm.
Who's the best hooper in the family? And we can include the dad in there as well. Mm-hmm. Who's the best hooper in the family?
Yeah, so our family's interesting because I'm certainly an anomaly in our family. So I'm the tallest person in our entire family, mom's side, dad's side. We can't figure out where it came from. God bless my dad. So he did his best, especially when I was younger. I'll preface this by, so we grew up as a Jehovah's Witness family. I still have family that are Jehovah's Witnesses. So as a Jehovah's Witness, as little guys, we just didn't play sports really growing up. I'm like the recess and with the homies at the park and everything like that. But as far as being involved in formal sports, I didn't start that till about 6th grade. And God bless my dad. So as I said, because as soon as I started 6th grade, that's when he started getting me up for the gym in the morning. My dad, my entire life has been a 4 in the morning, 4:30 in the morning gym guy. He's an educator, so he's always worked education, so he's getting his workouts done in the morning. So my dad started taking me to the gym, and he taught me as much as he could in terms of basketball, but very quickly he realized that he just wanted to put me in the hands of people who knew what the crap they're talking about. So about midway through my 6th grade year, he put me he put me on a team of a guy, a former pro. His name's Peter Izugu. And he lives out here in Scottsdale somewhere. Big ass motherfucker. 6'7". I remember seeing him at a gym. He went to the same gym as we did. That's kind of how he knew my dad. And back in the day, he ran kind of a big youth program down there called Future Stars. So he put me in Peter's hands. And Peter, man, he taught me a lot. Prepped me well. Then as I got into high school, we started kind of realize, okay, I'm starting to lengthen out a little bit. I was only 5'10", 5'11" going into my sophomore year. And so I was still, I wasn't anything spectacular by any means. Then I started to grow my sophomore year. I was on varsity as a sophomore. I was on freshman as a freshman. During my junior year, I got in contact with Kenny Mullins, who was my AAU coach, who's the best basketball coach I've ever been around, the most knowledgeable coach I've ever been around. So he was my guy. That kind of got me to the level in which I got to. So needless to say, my older brother, he was a kind of a trap cross country kid. When he was coming up, we were still more heavily into the Jehovah's Witness realm, so he never really got into sports as much as probably he would have liked to. It's kind of unfortunate, but my little brother, he was top 10 in 3-point percentage in the country as a basketball player during his senior year. So my little brother, he was a shooter. My little brother, he's 6 foot and a half, something like that. My pops is 5'11". So yeah, as I started to grow up, get a little bit bigger, I don't want to say there's no competition, but maybe it was, I was an anomaly. My little brother, we had some battles though, especially growing up. My little brother, we fought a lot in the front yard.
You can tell that, or people can tell that you were tall because you call 6 foot, I feel like regular. and I feel like 6 foot is like,
You know,
I'm like 6'2", and I feel like that's like, but I hear you.
Well, it's funny, a lot of people would, you know, they'll say, man, how does it feel? You so tall. I'm like, I've been around hoopers my whole life. Like, I've always kind of felt like the shorter guy. It's like, even when I'm out and about, like, I don't feel gigantic because of the environments I've been in. But what's height average? Is it like 5'9"?
I don't know.
It's something
like around there. Yeah.
So I mean, if you can get to 6 foot, 5'11", shit, you're good.
Most definitely, I hear you on that. Okay, so when you were growing up, when did you know that you were pretty decent at basketball, or that you could take it to the next level? And then kind of tell us about that journey as well.
Yeah, I knew I was gifted athletically from a young age. So my dad, he was a football coach at Peoria High School. That's kind of where he started his education path. As an education professional, he was a teacher at Peoria High School. So he coached freshman football, he coached freshman basketball, and then he coached track as well. I went to the elementary school that literally you could throw a rock from my elementary school to Peoria High School's football field. So after I get done with school, Pops would pick me up, take me to the practice field, and we'd be at the school until whenever practice was done. So ever since I was a little guy, this big, I just spent so much time in that environment. And very good dexterity, I had really good hands. My uncle was an NFL player, my dad was a Division I football player. So like I just kind of always had confidence in my athletic ability. You know, my mom was a Division I athlete as well. So my sophomore year was the most painful year of my life because I was growing so much. For 3/4 of that year, I walked with a limp because I had this crazy pain from my hip all the way down my leg. You know, just what I look back on now as growing pains. But after I kind of got through that phase, you know, I was always skinnier, but I was very smart with the game, how the game was played. I had a really good feel. I had great hands, great dexterity. I'm very ambidextrous. So my dad kind of raised us to be able to use right and left hands. I played my first year at Ottawa. I played the whole season left-handed. And this was after COVID. During COVID, I was like, shit, why not? You know, I just kind of wanted something to keep me interested. So I played the whole year left-handed, shot the ball left-handed, everything. So once I kind of just figured out my athletic gifts, which I figured out younger. And then my sophomore year, my body kind of started to adapt as well. And then once I got to my junior year and I got with Kenny and I got in the gym, that's when we really started working on skill development. And I just got around these other kids, I was like, yeah, I could play Division I ball. So yeah, once we made that, realize it, and it all a product of the work, I will say. None of it happened by accident. Like I said, when I was in 6th grade, my dad was getting me up at 4:30 in the morning to go to the gym and get working. But yeah.
When did Montana State become an option, and were there other options out there for you as well?
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'd call myself a late bloomer. If I had to do it all different, and I wanted to do it perfect for back in the day, I would have done it different. And of course, looking back, I'll never look back at decisions that I made with any type of animosity. Like, I'll always appreciate the decisions that I made. But so the first year that I played on like a national AAU level was my junior year. So junior year spring, and that's kind of the main live periods of kids wanting to get recruited is your junior year spring, and then summer after your junior year. That's prime time. But 95% of kids who play Division I ball, they've been on the national AAU circuit at the very least since their freshman, sophomore year. So I was kind of late to the party. So I had a really good spring. First tournament was rough because that was my first tournament. I'm like, oh, these kids, there's motherfuckers out here that can play. And my dad always told us there's always somebody out there that's better than you, always. Yeah. So I kind of always had that perspective. So I adapted quickly. So after that first tournament, cool. I adapted. I remember we played Marvin Bagley. I believe he plays for Detroit now. I'm not sure if he left Detroit. But played Marvin Bagley's team, Corona del Sol. Corona del Sol had some crazy teams when I was coming up. But Phoenix Fan, we played them in the tournament, played them in the championship tournament. I played well. We ended up losing because Marvin decided to go crazy in overtime.
Google tells me he plays for Washington right now.
Okay.
That could be the last season. He might
Yeah,
be for
no,
Detroit.
that might be accurate now though. That might be accurate. The spring, I started to get feel a little bit of buzz. You know, Kenny handled all the recruitment for the most part. You know, coaches would call Kenny, and Kenny would give them my phone number or my parents' phone number, and that's kind of how things went. The first school to contact me was Coach Lowry from Central Arkansas. That was the first interest I gained. Then as we moved into the summer, Army and Air Force, were calling me a lot. Portland State, Coach Colburn. Portland State actually ended up kind of focusing on one of my teammates actually, so I kind of stopped talking to them pretty early on just because I wanted E to get that love from Portland State.
Did you go to Portland State?
He did not end up going to Portland State. He ended up going to Cal Fullerton and then transferred, 2 or 3 times. Amanda's gone, really good guy.
Sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, you're good. But outside that, so this was, spring was the first, and for 2 weeks in spring, I don't know how long the live period is, but that was the first time coaches were able to see me. And then as I moved into the summer, I kind of had some things lined up. Coach Fish, Montana State. Coach Haslam was the guy who recruited me. Shout out Coach Has. So they came out to the school, and I ended up taking a visit before my senior year to Montana, to Bozeman. Mom, Dad went with me. Went to a football game. It was cool, man. And we ended up deciding to commit on the visit. I prefaced the story by saying if I would have done things a little bit different, I would have. I wouldn't. If I had to go back and do it again, I wouldn't have committed right away. But we were there, and my mom, she was big on. If the opportunity's there, take it. And so we were sitting in the office. Scholarship was there. Beautiful school. Environment. Like our family. We're a black family, but mom's family's from North Dakota. This is not like a very foreign environment for us. Really good school. So mom was like, "Why would we leave here and not lock this in?" So we decided to sign on the visit. That's how I got there.
Most definitely. Okay, because we all know MSU was the landing spot, but not many people know that. So I'm glad that you were able to say that.
And I'll say real quick to expound on the fact if I would have done it different. So if I would have done it different, I would have not signed, and I would have done a post grad year. Just because I was just so new to the scene, and there's still so much development I needed in my body. Maybe things would have worked out different, but like I said, I'm so blessed to be where I'm at and to have gone through everything I've gone through. And I needed all that to know exactly how it went for me to be here. So
once you got there and you were maybe first week or two, what was your welcome to college basketball moment?
This is one of every time I'm in the gym with some new kids, some new guys. I always tell them the story of our first, maybe not our first 5-on-5 live basketball session, when I was up in Montana. So it's funny, and I'll out a lot of college basketball coaches here, but there's certain windows where coaches aren't allowed to be on the court with the team. And so when we first got there, we just get in the gym, hey, you guys want to get to the gym, play some fives? Cool. So that was the first week, and then the second week, okay, we see Coach Fish walking. In Shore, there's a little indoor track above the practice courts. And so this one day you saw him up there, man, okay, he's gonna be out here now. And I think the next time we ran, Coach Fish, instead of being up there, he's over there in the corner. And so after this one day, and this was within the first week of us being there, us being me and my roommate, teammate Zeke Quinlan, he was in the same class I was, we lived together, everything. Coach Fish was so he said, "Zeke, we're dying. First week, we just before we left for college, we're kicking with our friends, and we're still getting ourselves in shape. You motherfuckers want to play like that? Quit right now. clear out your locker room and leave. Just like that. Like first week, we were like, and he used, and I even used expletives there, but some strong language with us. And looking back on it, I don't think it was him like trying to like kick us out there. It was just like say, hey, like this isn't high school anymore. And that was the message he was getting across. This isn't high school anymore. You gotta be physical. You gotta put your nose in there. You gotta guard. So very, very early on, I realized that this is just gonna be a little bit different than what I'm used to.
Okay, so I would be wrong if I didn't ask you, what is it like Cat Grizz week? Mm-hmm. When you were like preparing and you know that MS or that UM is coming into town, how does that week go? I know every coach always says like it's just another game. Like, is it really just another game? Is it like does it mean a little bit more? Like what was it like to you?
It was, and for people who aren't familiar with the Cat Grizz rivalry, I'm sure a lot of your listeners are. It's kind of from that area. It's one of the most spectacular sports rivalries in the country. No matter the level, the area, that rivalry in Montana, no sports teams, it's U of M and MSU, and you're on one side or the other. It was so fun to be able to live in that. As far as the prep, I'll say like the prep was, same prep as usual. You'd have to prep for, okay, it's gonna be crazy. You get the typical coach feels like, hey, crowd's gonna be crazy, they'll be screaming at you, yada yada yada. The same old shit. As a player, you knew it was just something a little bit different because you knew, especially in basketball, because you have so many basketball games, the whole community doesn't come out to every single game. Like football, you only 6, 7, 8 home games a year. So you just get a crap ton of people there every single game. So for basketball, it was it was fun because you knew that these people were coming. These people were coming. These people were driving in town to come to the game. So it just the build up of it was super exciting as a player. I wouldn't have changed anything. It was awesome. So fun to live in. Best rivalry. I'll say objectively speaking. Subjectively speaking, as the best rivalry in sports.
When you went to UM, do you have like a good story that you can tell, maybe of like the crowd, or maybe something that a player has told you, or just anything like that?
What I remember most is because so much of that stuff happened. Like you get heckled. People are yelling crazy things at you. I've never heard anything. People, maybe black player, black athlete. Like I never heard anything in that. Like I do want to make that clear. I remember we went to we every time we get lunch, you get a bunch of stares and some dirty looks from people. But you knew it was just all out of the love of competition. Saeed Pridgett talked a lot. Talked a lot. All those guys talked a lot, man. But it was just fun. It was just fun. It was fun to live in.
Okay, I'm glad you brought up him because I just looked him up on Instagram like 2 weeks ago. I was like, I wonder where he is. And Hall, what was Tyler? Yeah, Tyler Hall. Yeah. I looked up Tyler Hall a couple days ago, and Kelvin, because I still follow Kelvin and things like that. But I was like, dang, I need to check up on all of this. So I'm glad you said that.
Yeah, Kel, I just went up to Oregon. Kel, his family.
Is he still out there?
Yeah. So I know he just took a flight out to Africa. He's doing some basketball. I don't know if he signed a contract for out there, but I know he was playing in Indonesia for the last year or so.
Man.
So yeah, he's still living the hoop dream, man. Not sure about Tyler. I need to shoot Tyler a text. I don't think I have his phone number anymore. He's kind of quiet on the socials. But I know he was waived by a G League team a year ago, and I haven't heard anything since. But man, it's two of my favorite people. Sam Newman, Kelvin Blevins, Tyler Hall, and then my freshmen that I was with. But those three guys, I spent a lot of time with those guys, especially as I got to know them more. especially winter and going into spring. I was always Sam's roommate
Really?
on the road, so I was just really cool with the seniors, man. They were awesome dudes. Awesome dudes.
Tyler Hall is someone that should have a job in the NBA. Like that dude is the ultimate freaking scorer. Like that dude could score the freaking basketball. Like, anything that he wanted to do, he could do it on the court. I loved that dude, and I loved watching him. He was a little bit older than me, I believe, but
yeah, nobody could turn it on like Tyler though. Yeah, he had his struggles. But boy,
him and Kelvin, I forget who, they had another player there at that time too, but Kelvin, all of them, like, just that was a squad right there. Obviously, other than maybe Cat Grizz or anything like that, is there any like memories that you have that you still take with you? Maybe like a road trip or anything else like that?
Oh man, so many. Let's see if I can isolate some of a good one. I'll say for any freshman basketball players, be careful what you order on the road, because I have had my ass chewed out by ordering stuff that I'm not supposed to order.
So you could order stuff on the road?
Yeah,
like,
just like no. I mean, if you wanted to, like you could get like DoorDash or whatever. I mean, some people do that late. I don't know, like if the coaches do about that or not, but like so we'd go to one of my least favorite things about going on the road is we always go to Chili's or Applebee's. And then Domino's after games. And when I was at Ottawa, it was we did sandwiches, but MSU the Domino's and like if you ordered, you could order like two things, but it had to be like specific. I remember we were playing Bakersfield, and I was at a table with 3 or 4 of my teammates, and we each ordered an appetizer and an entree, when we were only supposed to order one appetizer for the table and an entree each. We got our ass chewed out for that. But I say that just so I can pass some time, so I can think of a good story on the road, man.
We can come back to if you want to.
Yes, something will pop up. I'm glad you brought that up, because so many.
Most definitely. We'll come back to memories. Okay. Tell us about the recovery process. We all see you guys play the games. We all see you guys, even if you don't play. Tell us about the recovery process, maybe if there is any, like for, let's say you didn't, like your freshman year, you weren't playing as much. What does it look like? How does that look like to, like how does that all go down?
Yeah, I think there's a misconception in the sense that people will think that, okay, the players that play 30 plus minutes a game are going through like the grueling physical ailments, and they need recovery all the time. Sure, there's part of that, especially once you get into season. But especially before the season starts, like we're all in there, conditioning, running, guarding, diving on the floor. Nobody is exempt from the work, and that's what builds the team, right? That's what builds the camaraderie of the team. Yeah, nobody can be placed on a pedestal to an extent, right? Of course, like Tyler was the guy, and it was Harry. So I mean, there were some things that are kind of, I won't say catered to him, but there was just an understanding that these guys, they play 35 minutes a game. Things will just be a little bit different for them. But by and large, the recovery, if you're not recovering, you're not on the floor at that level. Shout out Brett Ritter, he was our athletic trainer. I know he went to Utah State when Coach Sprink went there and has. I'm not sure where Brett's at now. I imagine he followed one of those guys. But awesome trainer.
Do you guys have like unlimited Gatorade, like snacks? How does that work?
Yeah.
How does the food portion work? I think that is actually a great question. Let's get into that as well.
And
how, as an athlete, how does the food portion work? Like obviously we gotta eat, how do you guys get all of that figured out?
So Montana State has some of the best dining halls probably in the country.
Rendezvous.
We
were at Rendezvous when they opened up.
Was the one they opened up when I was there. I forget the one that was the name of it, the one by Roski. But there was 2 dining halls. So as a freshman, you're obviously living on campus. So you have, not unlimited swipes, but you have enough swipes to get you by. But shout out Brittany. I can't remember her last name. I'm glad I'm able to shout some of these people out because they were just really good people that cared about us. But Brittany, she was our nutritionist. So especially during summer ball and in the fall, and pretty much through the entire year, they had they almost had like a snack stand. We never had to pay anything or whatever, but Brittany, she'd make us baggies. So before practice, we'd have a baggie in the front of our locker, and it'd have just a handful of just fuel in there. A lot of glycogens, carbohydrates, stuff like that. Hydration packet was always in there. So Brittany did a great job at kind of managing our nutrition. And for a little bit of time, we never got really too into it. But we were like tracking our meals and stuff, especially for guys who, the coaching staff wanted like trying to change their body composition. We kind of monitor it more closely, but the food aspect is massive, and it's hard. It was hard for me because you just get tired of eating the dining hall food, even if it's it's good. And you just don't really have like any cat. It's different now because guys have NIL, they can kind of get taken care of more. But the food aspect is massive. Shout out Brittany. When I was there, MSU did a fantastic job of making sure we were taken care of.
Did they give you on your cat card? Did they give you like the unlimited swipes? Like, could you guys get unlimited swipes?
So, I don't think we did. Okay. I remember running out of swipes, or getting close to running out of swipes. But I mean, you get it,
or whatever your money like.
You
have like a certain allotted money a year.
Between all of us, like we never ran out. Like amongst all of us.
I hear you. Yeah, because then I get updates at the end of the semester.
Shout out Rendezvous though.
Rendezvous. I miss
the pasta.
Pasta, bro. I miss late night bites.
Yeah, late night bites. All the desserts were always pretty good. They had a little setup there, bro. Yeah, they had a little setup.
That I tell everybody. I've said this on the radio multiple times. Rendezvous, bro. Yeah. Rendezvous. People are probably like, is that a club? Is that a strip club? Like, and I'm like, no, it is your local, your local cat place over here, cat food place. So, all right, we'll kind of transition just a little bit. What was your as you were going through like your transition, what was it like going from playing sports to transitioning into like the business sector and into like the entrepreneur, or to being an entrepreneur and things like that?
Yeah, man. I spent a lot of time in reflection on that part. It was something I wanted to be, a transition I wanted to have resolution with. And just to provide some context, so I was at Montana State for 2 years, really bad back injury, then transferred to Ottawa University, which I graduated from, played a season and a half there, and the transition you just mentioned was after that half season, that's when I was making the transition over to entrepreneurship, medical, dental, stuff like that. I knew that opportunities to make money were so much greater outside of sport. So the money aspect, I was never attached to sport because of that. I just loved to play. I just loved to hoop. It was fun. But as soon as I realized that, okay, this life is real. You need money coming in to pay for groceries. If you have a car payment, utility, all this, that, what have you. So I just started to pay attention to that stuff as it started to play out. And also I gained the perspective that as much as I love youth athletics, as much as I love AAU, high school, college ball, when you get to the professional sector, for me, and call it subjective, call it objective, it's just entertainment. We talked about this a little bit before we got on. And I didn't, the resolution I found was I didn't want to be in the entertainment business. For me, going overseas to Europe, Germany, Asia, never really was keen to me, just because I knew how lucrative the opportunities are here in the States. People born here in the States, my business partner and I say all the time, one of the greatest blessings we have is being born in the United States. Those who are born in, not that there's not the great places to be from, but it's the opportunities you have, particularly in business, are just enormous here. So I knew I would have an advantage in business and as a student, as an athlete. I knew that the lessons I learned through sport would translate to a multitude of different things. So when I realized that and I internalized that, I was like, okay, I can hang this up and be perfectly fine and be excited to wake up every day to pursue, at this time, the transitory period, to pursue, whatever it is down the line. And the more reflection, sitting down with people I care about, love, I made the full transition into preparing my transcripts, preparing my documentation to put together a dental school application, which is a lot of work. It's a lot of components. Of course, you need the grades, you need the DAT score. But I was in a situation where, at that point, when I was making the transition, and I had burned out at that half year. So that next spring semester, I was literally in a ball at home for 3-4 months, not going to class, not doing anything. So I was just like, fuck, I'm working 40 hours a week. I was bar backing at the time, so I worked 5 days a week as a bar back, working until 2 a.m. Then conditioning in the fall, so I'd get home from work at 2:30, go to sleep because it takes me some time to wind down. 3:30, I'd have conditioning at 5 in the morning, and then with practice, when practice got going, I'd have practice in the afternoon. I'd have to leave practice 5-10 minutes early to hurry to work just to clock in on time. So that an entire semester of that, it just put me in a shell, dude, where I was like, I just can't do this anymore. But what am I gonna do? Because my parents, nobody's gonna help you if you're gonna sit in a ball and do nothing for. If you're not doing anything for yourself, nobody will. So sat down with my advisors and put together the plan. At that point, my GPA was a 2.47. Anybody that goes into medical school knows anything about that process, knows the standards in which those students are held to, especially just putting together an application that's somewhat competitive. So that caused me to be an undergrad 1 year longer than I would have liked to be. But for the next 5 semesters, I took no less than 24 credits a semester. And during that time, I got A's in just about everything. In like 2 classes, I got a B and a C in there. Physics, fuck physics. I hate physics. But like I said, the foundation I had as an athlete, I knew I had the resilience, the wherewithal, the resources. I'll always give my parents credit for how much they support me. But I knew I had the conditions and the context to, even though I had a 2.47, to put together a competitive application resume to get myself down the line. And during that process, which we can get into, that's when the entrepreneur stuff and trading stuff started to come into play. But yeah, I just, even when my focus has always been, will always be, to just wake up every day, work. But Bob Proctor, he's a virtual mentor of ours, Marcus and I, he said, work, we weren't made to work. Work was made for us. Like when people retire, what do they want to do? Like, fuck, I don't have anything to do. Like, work was made for us, to keep us active, keep us moving. So I always understood that, but I knew I wanted to wake up every morning and do things that I was completely invested in, passionate about. There's gonna be hard days. We work we work by the principle of thirds, always. So 1/3 of every single day, you're gonna feel like you're doing everything you want to accomplish. You're gonna feel great. Another 1/3 of those days, you're just gonna feel meh, feel apathetic, not really want to do anything, not super apathetic. And on the last 30 days, you're not gonna feel like doing anything at all. And I think people will resonate with that. Even when you're doing something that you love to do, there's days you wake up and you're like, fuck this, like I don't want to do this. But if you can navigate that rule of thirds, that has been just so monumental for me, and I'm blessed to be doing things that I love, make me excited about the future, about things I could be able to do with my family, and just all that good stuff.
Most definitely. Okay, so I want to tackle some of the things that you've been up to. I want to start with VXT, and then you can go. I want to hear all everything that you're doing with
I'll keep it as
trading.
concise as possible.
Yeah, with the trading and everything, but kind of explain like Bloom trading, all of that, like, and just give us an overview of everything.
Yeah. So Mark and I, we've been running a company called Bloom Entities since summer 2023, so a little over 2 years now. And I'll get into kind of my entry into trading at a different point. I'll just talk about the company right now. So initially we had 4 business partners, so myself, Marcus, then 2 others. About a year and a half ago, about 2 years ago, one of them decided to quit. Just had another opportunity. He had a family, kids, so his situation was different. The third business partner just decided he didn't want to do it anymore, and that was the best thing that could have ever happened to us, because that just allowed Marcus and I to just figure out what we wanted to do, how we wanted to engage this space. I need to provide context. So Bloom Entities, we are a trading education platform. We just actually started our first cohort where we're personally teaching 10 students of ours, which are really exciting. But for the last two and a half years, and particularly over the last year and a half, Marcus and I have been working on a trading strategy, and not just a trading strategy, because the strategy and mechanics of trading is pretty esoteric for people. People know what it is, but not really kind of how it works. But trading is a reflection of who you are, not necessarily your strategy and your system. So Mark and I, we've been working on the trading system, so the mechanics of the trading. But about a year and a half ago, we were like, okay, if we want to be successful, we have to do this, this, and this, and this to grow as people, to grow our knowledge, to be able to be a successful trader. Because the system's cool, but there's a million and one different system strategies you can use. There's a million different unique trading strategies that can work for you. But what we wanted to do was, okay, how can we teach people this skill? Because we know and understand that it's so much more than just teaching the strategy, which is what you see in the trading space. People are selling indicators, signals, courses just on the strategy. What we want to do was create the community. Where people can come, learn, no matter where they're at in their skill set, and not just learn the mechanics of trading, but learn things that they can do in their life to be the person that can be a successful trader, right? And what's so valuable about trading is that it transcends to so much more than your wallet, your bank account. If you're intentional about it, you become a more patient, disciplined, intentional person during your journey, figuring this shit out. And that's kind of how, especially over the last year and a half, since we've lost the 2 business partners, that's what we've been working on. And so now there's still a lot of things we have to figure out. One thing you talked about VXT. So VXT, that's our basketball training brand as well. But what that is, VXT is our Bloom Entity slogan, which stands for volume times time. And it's we always live by our principles. If you see on our Bloom Entities Instagram, at Bloom Entities, we post our principles. With studying stuff, I haven't been on top of things as much as I would like to, but volume times time, all that means is if we assign volume to anything, volume meaning us spending time with something, volume in the sense of basketball, okay, volume means me shooting free throws, putting volume into shooting free throws, becoming a better ball handler. If you do that over a long enough period of time, so the volume times times, if you assess volume to a certain thing over a long enough period of time, 100% without a doubt, you will get to whatever level of proficiency that you want to get to. So and that can speak to us setting high bars for ourselves, us really going after it, because we know without a doubt, and especially in the trading space, whenever you can have a guarantee, you take it, you put it in your pocket, and you hold on to it for dear life.
Definitely.
Holding on to that volume times time component, particularly in trading, means us being able to make more money over time. In the economic conditions, the world is so different from the world our parents grew up in, from in the world a lot of our mentors, especially guys our age, grew up in. So we're learning from people that grew up in a system that is not like the system that we're living in now. I hear all the time at work, my coworkers, this is hard, man, it's hard. Our money gets spread so thin, everything's more expensive, wages haven't increased along with, they haven't increased analogously with inflation. So people are trying to figure out, like, how do I get ahead? So we're trading to be able to have a skill that compounds over time, hence volume times time. The longer we do it, we will be able to make money over time. Volume times time assures us of that. Being able to make income, supplementary income, possibly primary income from anywhere in the world, given we have internet and a device, a phone, an iPad, an old Dell computer that can just merely hook up to the internet, iMac, whatever it is, as long as you have a way to access the internet and internet, Wi-Fi, you're able to make money at any point you want. When I realized that at the beginning of my trading journey, I was like, okay, let's do this. Let's run this up.
Most definitely. Okay, so let's go back real quick. What is a common mistake that you see beginners make in trading?
Common mistake I see in beginners, and just like I said, thinking that it's strategy and not who you are. I think that a lot of people quit trading because it makes you uncomfortable, because it tests your patience, it tests your discipline, it tests your decision making. So if you're not already proficient at those skills, which who is, right? Especially if you're young, whoever it is, nobody's on top of all that stuff all the time. Trading humbles you in the sense that it exposes all of that, whether you like it or not. At some point, your discipline will be tested. You'll want to enter when you shouldn't. A beginner, don't enter. You'll want to, you'll have FOMO. You want to chase this loss. You'll be greedy. And people will think it's just a strategy. It's a strategy. I need to figure out the strategy. I'm not. But at the end of the day, it's just who you are. And as soon as you realize that, then you can start taking the personal development processes serious enough to where you'll be able to be successful over time.
When you got started, what was like the elevator pitch to you? Who was the person that put you onto it?
Yeah. So the second business partner that ended up leaving, he was a former teammate of both of Marcus and I's. Won't share his name. All love for him. Former teammate. I always love all my former teammates. But so he was involved with a multi-level marketing company, which I was not aware about initially when I was first introduced to the LLM. They were pushing a trading platform, a trading education platform called Elevate. I feel comfortable saying that. And so they brought me on to Elevate, and after doing just bare research about what an LLM is, I was like, oh yeah, this is an LLM. I was like, this trading concept, I understand it. It's cool. I've always been, entrepreneurial in the sense that, okay, this is something I don't know anything about. Let's learn about it. I'm not going to just shy away from it. So the concept of trading was fascinating enough for me not to be deterred by the LLM aspect of it. I was never keen to that aspect of it. Neither was Marcus. Looking back on that, I don't know if I wished anything was different, but just so fortunate that it brought trading into my life, and has allowed Marcus and I to really just get and develop to where we're at now. For the first summer 2023, the four of us at that point, we'd get up 4:30 every morning, the entire summer. You just learning, trading, losing, winning, losing up, having big wins, big money. And just kind of just going through the ringer of learning how to trade. Yeah, so that's how I was brought on. And Marcus and I, we're so unbelievably passionate about bringing this skill into other people's lives in a way that expedites so much of the pain and struggle we went through. Not that I was able to grow so much, but just streamline the process. And what we're currently working on is a 180-day plan for anybody to start at day 0 and at day 180 be able to start getting paid from trading. That's what we're currently working on. So there's some man, just as far as how I got into the space, was just super blessed to enter into the space. Yeah, we leave it at that.
Can you share like a moment, maybe like a story or something that maybe where things didn't go your way, and then kind of how you overcame that?
Oh yeah. Which one do I want to bring up?
Keep things vague as well. If you
Oh no, I mean,
super detailed.
I'm an open book, man. I'm an open book. I love being able to share knowledge. You can learn anything from anybody, any context. You know, there's always a lesson there.
Most definitely.
No matter the story. So let me see if I want to do that one. Okay, so when I first got that, I've been trading, started to have my first good month. First good month. I was talking with my grandpa, talking about that, just everything that was going on. And the LLM's whole pitch was 3% a day. So they pulled out the compound interest calculator, and they're like, okay, if you do 3% a day, you start with $1,000, 3% a day, you'll have, I can't think of the number, but 15 million after a year of trading days. And so I showed it to my grandpa, and I was fired up about it, obviously, and my grandpa, all in. My grandpa, he owned a painting business, a residential and commercial painting business in Las Vegas. So somebody who's always done well for himself. So Grandpa, he wired me $2,000. Traded that. So at that point, I was trading on like a 500 account. I grew it to just under 1,000. Grandpa wired me 2,000. So I thought, man, I'm cool. We're doing this 3% a day. Let's get it. And I remember I bought a ticket to go to Germany. I went to Germany to see Mike, teammate at Montana State my sophomore year. I'm going to see Harry as well in Germany. I'm fired up, man. We're seeing the world. We're making money. Like, this is working perfect. About 2-3 weeks before the trip, long story short, I blew the whole account. Long story short, and this is all capital. So I grew that. Was just about 3,000 up to just about 9. It was like 943 or something like that. And this was when gold. So we primarily trade XAUSD, which is the gold US dollar exchange. It went down. And it went down. Okay, it's gonna go up from here. It can't go down any further. So I take another buy. It goes down. I'm gonna take another buy. It's gotta go up from here. There's no way it can continue to go down. It goes down. And at that point, I'm 4 or 5 positions in. I'm just way too leveraged, way too exposed. And at that point, we realized this, and we spent so much time working on our risk management and capital preservation. It was just gone. And that was my first lesson of risk management, capital preservation, and how easy it is, especially in the day trade space, for your shit to be gone if you're not careful, if you're not disciplined, if you're not patient, if you're not resilient, if you have FOMO, if you want to chase. All your hard work for months can be gone so quick if you don't do things in a certain way, as we said. Something from Bob Proctor, virtual mentor of ours, passed away in 2020, I believe. He always says doing things in a certain way. essentially just doing things the way they're supposed to be done. 95% of the time, no matter what it is, like if you tell somebody, and I'm not gonna throw it, just to provide an example, somebody who maybe wants to lose a few pounds, or maybe don't want to or don't want to. 90% of the time they know, like, okay, if they just do this, this, and this, like they'll lose the weight. But they're not doing things in a certain way. Like they know what to be doing, but they're not doing it. And how much does that transcend to so many different things? Athletes, they know they should be doing recovery. They know they should be doing this, getting extra shots. They just don't get around to it. They're not doing things in a certain way. So risk management, capital preservation in the trading space is a major part of doing things in a certain way for us to make all the difference.
Let's say someone doesn't have the funds to get started, but they're looking to start. What would you suggest? What's a good amount for them to save, and maybe a good time frame for them to what is a good respectable amount that you're going to need to get into and still be able to play with?
Yeah. So there's a lot of different ways you can play it. What I tell our cohort groups, the group of 10, we're personally coaching right now. Everybody's context and situation is different. It's like even Marcus and I. Marcus has a fiance. He has a baby girl. Just had a baby. His fiance has a 9-year-old. So his context is a lot different than mine or me. I'm on the track to get into professional school. No kids, no girlfriend or anything. The context different. So how Marcus and I would play it would be different. How you would potentially play it would be different. So that's what I emphasize first is how you approach it doesn't have to be how your mentor or educator, how your friend does it. It can be different. So find the way that works best for you. So what the options are, what I tell people is if trade on paper, so trade essentially fake money until you just get the gist of what the heck's going on. You just understand, okay, buy, sell. You just understand really not too much. You just understand the idea, the concept. You can move the chart around, understand, okay, when the candlesticks go up and I push buy, okay, that's a good thing. When candlesticks go up and I'm gonna sell, that's a bad thing. And you just have your mind wrapped around it. As soon as you have that figured out, get off the paper. Because once you start trading your own money, that's when that's when everything starts to boil up. Yeah. And so at that point, no matter even if you want to start, you have $100,000 you have an account. You're like, hey, I want to trade that. Even in that situation, once you get off paper, start a $100 live account. $100. Even at that small amount, you'll still be able to work on some of this. You'll still be able to work on the emotions without risking any more than you need to. You trade the $100, okay, develop, feel comfortable there, scale that to 500. Again, everybody's context is different. Not everybody will be able to do scale that to 100, 500. As far as funding the account, not growing it manually. Because $100, you can grow it to $1,000 over a certain period of time. Like, it will take you some time, which is cool, but $1,000 is not going to change your life. So we do want to get to the point where we can scale, if you can.